Andy, I mentioned at the end of the last podcast, like the box office is really in trouble, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is big. It's big news. I will note all of that by saying Moana 2, the trailer dropped yesterday. This is one of Disney's most popular movies ever. It's one of the most streamed movies ever. And Dwayne The Rock Johnson, one of our favorites, is Maui in this, and he does a great job. The trailer dropped for that yesterday, and it already set a record for the most views in a 24-hour period. This is going to be a huge movie, but it doesn't come out until November.
Yeah.
Um, there's a lot in between now and then. Now there's Deadpool and Wolverine coming. There's Inside Out 2, which is expected to be really good. But aside from that, Andy, it's really rough. I did want to just recount because Futurosa and Garfield were this weekend, and they struggled to hit 30 million. I think it was 32 and 31, respectively, over the holiday weekend. Let me just give you the top 10 Memorial Day openings of all time and just show you where like the comparison is from 32 to 31 million of Futurosa, and I think I'm saying that right, and
Yeah.
Garfield. Last year, or I'm sorry, in 2022, Top Gun Maverick opened to 160 million. Pirates of the Caribbean in 2007 at World's End. This is one of the last ones. I think it was the last one. 140 million, 139, whatever. Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull in 2008, which sucked. 126 million. X-Men Last Stand 122. Little Mermaid, that one was last year, and that was like they said that was a dud. I kind of liked it, but 118 million. 117 for Fast and Furious, Aladdin in 2019, 116, X-Men Days of Future Past, which I kind of liked, but really was a stinker of a movie too. 110, that's in 2014. 2011, Hangover Part 2, 103 million. And number 10, rounding out the top 10 in 2018 was Solo, a Star Wars story.
Yeah.
Um, I like that movie. It got panned. I think a lot of people are coming around to it. But if you look at all of these movies, Andy, you got to go a long way down to get to 36. Futurosa is 37th on this list, 37th, and then Garfield is 38th. I mean, 39th on this list is Star Wars Episode 6, Return of the Jedi, which was 1983, Andy, 1983. So I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on this movie stuff, or is this we just got to get through this with what happened with the strikes and everything last year?
Yeah. I don't. I think it's just. I think it's bad movies. I think
Yeah.
it's Furiosa. I think you're adding a T in there that maybe doesn't exist. I think it's Furiosa.
Okay. Yeah.
And and I mean, look, Chris Hemsworth is cool, right? I mean, he's
Yep.
fun. Everybody likes him. He kills bad guys. He's fun to watch. Women like it when he finds a reason to take his shirt off. A couple times each movie.
Men like it too, Andy. I like it too.
Well, I mean, yeah, we do, right? But I mean, my wife and I tried to watch the first Mad Max remake, got about maybe a third of the way through, and we're like, we've got to turn this off. Like, we can't bear to watch this. Like, no more of my time can be lost on this movie. And it's rare that I like actually stop watching, but I had to stop. And she and my wife was too. We were both like, this is terrible. So like, there's zero interest to see this. Garfield, like nobody's ever really like loved Garfield. I think the books were cute, the comic was fun. They're
An asshole cat. He's not a lovable cat. He's an asshole cat,
yeah,
right?
you know what I mean. Like nobody's like, oh crap, I got to go see Garfield. Like you know what I mean. Like it's not happening. So as much as we all love Chris Pratt, also right, a big weekend for Chris's, I guess. Um, like nobody cares. So
Yeah.
it's just not happening. Now you did mention some other interesting movies, on the horizon. Being married to a therapist, my wife has a lot of interest in Inside Out too. There's a whole we can dive into that story for days and days. But that was a long list of garbage for the most part that you shared.
Yeah, I mean, it just shows you like there's a huge drop off here. And the
Yeah.
movies, I think the movies, it is tougher to make movies these days. I think in some part too, Andy, they're overthinking these movies. Like everything is so focus group to death. They're only wanting to release certain ones. Let's just put good cinema back in, and let's not worry. Like they have to make so much money because of all the back end, you know, publicity and all this other stuff. that they don't make, and there's no DVD sales anymore. That's really gone out the window. There's no rental sales anymore because they sell these things to the streamers, and it's kind of tough. But let's just go back to making some pretty decent movies, and I can't really say we've been doing that. So,
Yeah.
all right, Andy, just wanted to open with that because I know ended with the last one. I wanted to talk a little bit about that, but all right. So Andy, let's we got to get our timer up on the board. So
Are you seeing it? I've got it there for you. Do you see it? Let me make sure you have it. Hold on. Let me.
all right, make sure I've got the timer, but um I don't know how this usually pops up. It did pop up before.
Let me make sure, Dave. You know, sometimes technology can be a challenge
There,
for.
I got it now, Andy.
All
I
right.
got it now.
All right.
Okay. All right, Andy. Oh, I thought I had. Okay, here we go. I'm going to go to set the clock to 7 minutes, Andy. We're going to go on our first topic, which I think everyone in the whole fucking world knows where we're going with this first topic.
Can we
We
make the
don't want
timer
to do it,
stick?
Andy. They make us do it. They make us do it. Trump is convicted on 34 counts, Andy. Go. I mean, I don't know what else to say on this thing. He's now a convicted felon. There's no way around it. He's not going to be able to vote in certain states. Not that he is going to go around and vote in all these states, but
Yeah.
there are laws. I will be interested to see what Florida does if because when I was there a couple of years back, there was a big move to release, to open voting up to felons who have, you know, I guess, come out of their prison sentence, and they can apply for that. I'll be interested to see if Trump now magically that bill gets reversed because DeSantis was against it
Yeah.
back in that time. So, Andy, what's your initial thoughts here?
So, I mean, it's a truly historic day. I mean, the papers online. I mean, they were all images of former president, current presidential candidate, possibly next president, Donald J. Trump. You know, looking frustrated at best. You know, angry and pissed off at worst. In the courtroom, coming out of the courtroom, as he was identified as guilty on all 34 charges, from everywhere from the Drudge Report, with verdict written out 34 times to, all the major papers and everywhere in between. Just, this is an incredible story for our country to be here. It makes me feel like like we're Italy or Brazil or some other country where you see the leaders, routinely thrown in jail, France, on between stints in office. It's an embarrassing day for the country, and for I know there's a lot of folks that have been quoted and commented that that Trump didn't have a chance for a fair trial, and there's no way he's going to be anything but guilty. This is there's a sham. Look, I believe in juries. Like I believe in juries, and I believe that those 12 jurors probably genuinely try to think through this. It's a huge responsibility, and I think most Americans would take that responsibility seriously. From most Americans think he was guilty, right? And at the end of the day, this isn't like a heinous crime. I don't think he's going to go to jail. I could be wrong about that. But it's a sad day for America, and it talks more about the character of Donald Trump, both in the verdict and in his response, than it does about the actual criminality of this specific incident, which was wrong, not awful, right? I mean, there's no blood on his hands here, but it talks about the character of who he is in so many ways, and it's just kind of sad for America that this is where we are, and I worry this is the America we're going to be leaning into more and more, where political parties are going to try and find ways to put folks on trial in hostile territory for their own political advantage, and it's just that's not the America I want to see.
Yeah, Andy, let's just cut to the facts, right? The jury convicted him based on the evidence that was provided. They made the decision. There's nothing rigged about that, Andy.
Yeah,
There's just
yeah.
nothing there. When I see comments like I can't trust the justice system, this is what's going to make you not trust the justice system.
Oh, there's so
This
much more to, yeah, there's so much more.
I mean, we're really going to go here, a white man who's defrauded millions of people over time, who's got a tremendously bad track record of everything. who tried to overturn the election. I don't care what anybody else has said. It's preposterous that this is the one event. So let's put that all back in the box, people, and let's just evaluate the facts of the matter. And look, Michael Cohen, the star witness for the other side, they killed him. They crushed him. And yet
Yeah,
the jury still came away, a jury which both the defendants and the prosecution were able to select, right? And I think just the garbage about what Trump has been spewing, like he made a comment, Andy, a post about he didn't know what his charges were. Andy, one of the first things you do in a trial is the judge reads them to you and says, "Do you understand?" Trump did that. He understood what he was saying. Again, he doesn't even know how this process works. And then there was a process about, well, we got to go last. We didn't get to go last. The prosecution went last in the closing argument. Andy, that's what happens in a trial.
yeah,
I mean, these are just preposterous. This is where you get into this malinformation where you take the word of a fucking disaster of an individual and you take that and don't do any of your own research. People, pull your heads out of your asses and start reading about what the system is really like. And then if you still come away and say I can't trust the justice system, then let's work on some reform. Not because some fucking rich dude who's defrauded millions of people was convicted by a jury, 12 people, of mishandling this documentation or this money.
yeah.
I mean, look, I mean, I don't know what else to say to people. I mean, if this is what you want to put into office, this shows you what he's capable of doing, Andy.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it's. I think the New York Times editorial board wrote on this yesterday. I think they summed it up really well. If I can, I'll also quote a short part of it, Dave. I think it speaks to a lot of this, and then I'll go back to another point that you made real quick before we wrap up. And we're almost at time, but they wrote, quoting here, the verdict itself established that Mr. Trump committed crimes in hiding pertinent information about himself from the American people. Can dot dot dot. It revealed even more evidence of what Mr. Trump is willing to do, including breaking the law and pushing others to break the law for political gain. That chronic impulse to override democratic norms and the law to his own ends is at the heart of two other criminal cases against Mr. Trump. And that's really the issue of what's it's his character and willingness to do whatever he wants and the feeling that he should be able to do whatever he wants for his own selfish interest. And he's not alone in that. There's a lot of assholes out there like that. But that's kind of who he is, and I think it's important for people to recognize that. I will say, Dave, you talked about, if you really care about criminal justice, if you want to be fired up, follow Radley Balco, follow Billy Binion on whatever social media. They do a lot of coverage of the absolute lunacy of what happens with law enforcement day to day. It's unbelievable, and there's a lot to get you pissed off, and there's others. I can give you a host of handles that'll get you pissed off. And Radley Balco noted yesterday. During the soft on crime Biden administration, the former president crime rate hit a historic high. Oh, I hear the timer, Dave. I'll stop because I can go on. I got excited. I can go on, but I'll pause.
All
Stop.
right. We're gonna stop there, Andy. I want to say some more too here, but we won't do that. We're gonna adhere to our norms, Andy.
Yes.
Let's go to that. Okay, Andy. Next topic. It kind of bleeds into this. What does this mean for RFK Jr. now, Andy?
Hmm.
Again, I'm kind of cheating because it's still political things, but we're looking at the election now. Look, I mean, this is ammunition that's going to be used on a lot of cases. Does this give RFK Jr. any more of a chance to make headway here? He's racking up some endorsements. I wouldn't say they're necessarily top of the line endorsements, but he is making some headway there. He still continues to try to get on the ballots. Again, the goal is to make it so he can get to 270. Does this give him any more of a shot? And does this give Biden any more? The 20% in the middle, 40% Democrat, 40% Republican, 20% that you're fighting for in the middle. Is there any leaning here, Andy?
Yeah, I mean, look, to Trump's strong supporters, probably not making a big difference, right? Nor is the story that Biden administration is pushing out now. The former president throwing around the N-word while he was hosting The Apprentice, right? So that's another source been picking up the last 24 hours. And I don't think his supporters care, so it's not going to affect them. But for those folks that are generally on the fence in those key battleground states that, are really trying to figure out what to do, being a convicted felon is going to make a difference, and potentially going to jail is going to make a difference. Um, I think that does help, RFK. I think that does help Joe Biden. That does help, Chase Oliver, because people are going to say, okay, well, if I don't want to vote for that guy, and if I don't want to vote for Biden, they have other alternatives to select from, or they might just say, I'll just take Biden. I mean, like they might reluctantly vote for the current president. So
At
I think
least he's not a felon, right? That's
at
the
least he's not,
rationale.
and that's what Biden's pitch is going to be, right? It's going to be,
Yeah.
like, I'm not that guy, right? You might not like me, but I'm not that guy. So I think it does help them, and I think for those that, there is some level of commonality between Trump and RFK. Not a lot, but there are some areas where they can sort of speak to the same voter. Sort of the outsider, the I'm going to fight for you. The system is broken. Even though Trump is the system, but he still plays that role to a lot of voters, and makes that pitch. RFK could look more appealing, and he's say what you want about RFK, he's not a criminal, right? He's got his own compelling story, so I think it does create an opportunity. Trump's still going to get a lot of votes, like no matter what. He's still going to do well in November, no matter what. But it could make a difference in what's going to be a very close, hotly contested race. It could make a difference, and I mean, as it should. If the candidate you're looking to vote for is in jail, that should be a point of pause for voters, at least to think, is this really what I want to do? Do I want to elect a guy who's sitting at Rikers right now? I don't know. So I think it does create an opportunity. It'll be interesting to see how. I mean, Biden's jumping on it. They're going to be cautious, but they're going to jump all over the next few days, as will RFK, and certainly in the summer as the sentencing comes down, you're going to see this play out. I mean, who knows? Who knows? So it definitely creates opportunity for sure.
Yeah, I think the most popular search term on probably if you're monitoring Trump's computers, can I pardon myself? Yeah, is it possible to pardon myself? Andy, back to RFK. He did file a motion with the Federal Election Commission this about the debates that are coming up and the fact that he's being excluded, specifically the one on June 27th that's going to be on CNN. In the complaint, he said that alleges Biden, Trump, their respective campaigns, and CNN colluded to leave Kennedy off the debate stage. Also alleges CNN's decision to hold the debate could be tantamount to network making prohibited corporate contributions to Biden and Trump's campaigns, and thus violates the Federal Election Campaign Act. A claim met with dubiousness by one campaign finance expert. Andy, this is again, this goes to it. I think we talked about this when it came out. This circumvented the Presidential Commission on Debates
Yeah,
because they did this outside of that form. Because if they would have done it through that form, anybody who had gotten 15% of the vote or was trending in polls at 15%, which RFK Jr. was, they would have to be on the debate stage.
yeah,
And by doing it through this way, I mean, it's hard to, I mean, I'm sure there's nuance there that I don't quite understand, but I think he's kind of got a point here.
yeah. I mean, I think he does have a point. I think, again, I think the debates are going to be interesting to see how this develops. A lot hangs on the sentencing and how that hits things as we look at the future as well. But it's going to be hard to make the case to keep RFK out of the debates at some point here, if his polling stays strong. He's fighting for it because you have to be in the debates to get greater support, to have more Americans take you seriously. That's been the libertarians' challenge for a long time, is how do you get that candidate in front of America to show the option, right? Because people just don't take it seriously. So, I mean, for RFK to have any chance, he has to be able to debate, and so he's going to do everything he can to get out there and have that opportunity. And again, with yesterday's news, an even more likely chance, I would say, that he has a chance to get up there and provide an alternative to Donald Trump again, as maybe Chase Oliver does if he can get his polling numbers up. So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, I wonder if the mindset too becomes, hey, RFK's still polling. I need RFK's numbers. Let's pull him on the stage because I want to show how bad he is. I wonder if that ever factors into the calculus, saying like let instead of letting this guy just ramble on the side, let's bring him on and show the real difference here and why you shouldn't waste your vote on RFK and why you should your vote should come to me. I wonder if that ever comes into it.
I wish politicians would try and make a case for themselves instead of just tearing down their opponents. But I don't think anybody's trying to take that approach, Dave. I don't think anybody's trying to take
Yeah,
that approach.
me and my rose-colored glasses,
Yeah,
Andy. Yeah,
yeah.
just like everybody would wake up and be like, "Hey, we can't support Trump anymore," but that's not going to happen. Bring back Nikki Haley, Andy. At least she's not a felon, I
I
think.
don't. Yeah, at least she's got that.
Yeah. So, all right, Andy, we're going to stop on this one. We're going to make up the time that we lost from our last one. So I'm going to cancel this timer here. Okay, we're going to go to our next one. I got this one and then well a lighter one really at the end, but this is kind of light too, Andy. Andy,
Yes.
back when I was growing up in the 80s, as you were, as hopefully our listeners were of a certain X, of course. Um, I was a fan of the Ocean Pacific brand, right,
Oh
Andy?
yeah.
And at
OP.
the OP, right? If you had some OP shorts, you were in pretty good shape. Those shorts were pretty tight, Andy. So they they're pretty short. The term nut hugger was often
Yeah.
uh, conveyed there. And if you need me to explain that, I'll be happy to do that. But Andy, the short shorts, shorts have gone in various styles. Basketball players again go back to the 80s. Look at what basketball players were wearing back then.
Yeah.
And there's that famous scene in Billy Madison where Adam Sandler's character is racing Bradley Whitford's character. The guy falls over, and the famous joke is, "I can see that guy's
Yeah.
balls." So we have that there, Andy. But then they went to this long short period, the down below the knees, the
Yeah.
baggy shorts. The look at the mid 90s where you have a lot of that those basketball teams. And now you've gotten to like I think a respectful level above the kneecap. But Andy, there's a pull still towards the short shorts. You're a big fan,
I am
and you showed me a picture of Magnum PI from back in the day.
looking
And
good.
Tom Selleck is sporting those short shorts.
Yeah.
There's a group, I don't know how big fan of the short shorts, Andy.
Yeah, and I say they kind of made a comeback. I mean, to be honest, a lot of people don't recognize it, but they've kind of made a comeback the last few years to some extent, as they should, Dave. So I hate long sleeves, right? Even like with a button up, even I hate having to touch my ink, my wrists. I hate long shorts. I hate it. Like I'm just not comfortable. Don't know why, but yeah, I love short shorts. Typically I'm rocking a pair of 3-inch running shorts, which is excessively short, I'll admit. If I'm feeling fancy and putting on non-running shorts, they're in the 4 to 5.5 inch range, which is pretty short still. But that's the way God intended shorts to be, Dave. They're called shorts for a reason. Now, not everybody's going to look as sporty as Tom Selleck, coming out of the Ferrari in the 1980s. He looked great back then, but it's still the way shorts should be worn, and most people aren't comfortable with that length. They want that an inch above the knee kind of fit. But I'm a big fan. I'm a short shorts enthusiast. I think it's fine, and I don't. And I'll say this: people, whether you've got big legs or chicken legs, long legs or short legs, people just need to be comfortable, and whatever they like, as long as your junk's covered, nobody wants to see that, right? Then hey, just whip those legs out. It's summertime, short shorts. It's not limited to just one gender or the other. Enjoy your short shorts. Be confident in who you are. And again, there's been a resurgence, Dave, in the last few years. Brands like Chubby's brands and others, as well as like traditional brands that have been around for a long time that have moved to a shorter, lines of options. Great call. So I think short shorts for America, Dave. Short shorts for America.
The Rock agrees with you, Andy, because he's often showing himself
Yeah.
working out in short shorts. Look, I would run in shorter shorts, and I can appreciate some of that, but I just on a day to day, I just can't get there. My son liked the chubbies. I think but I tell you, I just couldn't. I can't get into it. I'm gonna stand on um a little bit above the knee there, Andy, and just go with that. But I just old man balls, Andy. It's
Old
just
man balls. So I mean, Dave, you remember from our time in the military. I mean, Army shorts were short.
yep,
Marine Corps shorts were
yeah.
incredible, right? I mean, they not only were short, but like they had a slit coming up the side where I mean, you're catching like glute muscles when you see Marine shorts, right? Those things they're ridiculous, So the military's had a tradition of shorter shorts, right? You never had jams in the military, right? And you mentioned OP in the beginning, but I mean, we were full of great long shorts back in the day when surfing gear was like what everybody wore, right? OP, Body Glove, Billabong, like all of those brands. I love that, right? From the colors to the styles to the Velcro wallets, Dave. But
Oh yeah.
but it's the shorts are a great look, and I think people should give them a try. Once you feel that gentle breeze, on your thigh, you're walking in summer and just feel the sun's glory on your body. I think people will enjoy it, Dave. I think America needs to rediscover the beauty of the short shorts. It's so quintessentially American to me.
Okay. All right.
Or
I don't know.
European. Europeans
I
love
don't.
it too. Your European man on the beach is always a fun thing to take in, right? Because European men love short shorts.
That they do, Andy. So very, very European of you to, or very, very
I'm
worldly of
I'm
you.
I'm a foreigner, Dave. I'm a foreigner.
That is
I'm an immig- I'm a dirty immigrant, Dave.
you. Well, I wouldn't say you're a dirty immigrant, Andy, but you are, yeah, nonetheless. Okay, Andy, we'll end that topic a little early. We don't need to drag out to the 7 minutes the whole time. We're just gonna be restrained to the 7 minutes. So, Andy, I'm gonna cancel this timer and cancel it for the day. We don't have it. No more of our 3x7. I do want to end on just kind of a funny one because I saw this on Instagram yesterday, and then you sent it to me as well. Very interesting, setting the stage, courtroom, traffic court, type of event. For some reason, they allowed the people to join via Zoom to the individuals who were being I guess in court. So the judge and everybody, the prosecution or whatever, were all in the court, but then these people were allowed to dial in for Zoom. So this is traffic court. This is what I experienced a couple months back. I think we counted on the pot a little bit. Um, and this individual who was up for a suspended license, Andy. They did not have a license.
Yeah.
So he joins the Zoom call driving, Andy. Now look, you know, driving while on Zoom in itself is a dangerous and probably reckless thing you should be doing, right? You probably shouldn't be doing that anyways. Talking about distracted driving. But when they were going through it, they first asked, "Are you like stationary? Are you?" He's like, "No,
Yep.
I'm pulling into the parking lot now. Let me get settled. I'm pulling into the parking lot." And so the judge is like, "What do we hear?" Okay, the judge confirms that he's stationary. You can see the seatbelt very clearly, and the individual goes, "I'm driving. Hold on, let me pull in here." And then they read the charge, which is a suspended sentence or a
Yep.
suspended license. And the look on this individual's face, I felt very, very bad for him. But like, this is the clown show sometimes that goes on in these small courts.
Yeah.
So the individual was immediately issued for an arrest warrant, had to show up by the end of the day. Now it's a lot worse for him, but very high comedy on
Oh my
Instagram.
gosh. It was Dave. It was great. Look, screw Donald Trump. Free Corey Harris. Free Corey Harris. I love this guy. I love this whole story. The image is so great, and this poor guy, like, as a as the judge tells him, hey, your bond is revoked, and poor Mr. Harris, is whispering, "Oh my God," like just taking it in. It's like, come on, man. Like this was such an absolute fail. I feel for the guy. The image is the judge's face. I'm trying to imagine the judge like processing this, as it's happening. This is a hilarious story. I'll share a link with the podcast notes for anybody that wants to see it and read it a little bit more. Like I said, it's on YouTube. It's all over the place. Hilarious, hilarious moment. Mr. Harris, I'm sorry for your situation. Dave, if we have more time, I'd tell a story. I've got a little experience with suspended driver's licenses, uh, way overly aggressive cops, and my at that time new girlfriend, now my wife, getting pulled over to way too many police officers. A whole other story. Mr. Harris, I feel for you, man. I'm sorry. To the judge, God bless you, and the expression on your face. What a great story. What a great story.
Yeah, definitely for sure. And it's a good way to end up this pod, Andy. You are out next week. I am solo, I think all 3 days, right?
Yeah, that's right, Dave. I'm banning
Monday,
you for the
Wednesday,
whole week.
Friday.
I'm gonna go splash water out of my belly button and let you enjoy the podcast on your own.
All right, I got 9 3x7s to do, or second minute seconds. So I gotta come up with some good stuff. I got a lot on the agenda, Andy. So I'll work through that. A lot of things that'll be fun. So, but we'll miss you, Andy. Have a good time on vacation. I'm gonna do the same thing to you later,
Yeah,
this month, but it'll be a fun time. So
it'll be fun.
enjoy, and we'll catch up with you next time.